sorry this is so late, but welcome to another recap of Project Runway. It's the Guggenheim Challenge. Alright, so this is the final 6. Can you believe it? They met Tim at the Guggenheim, which is my absolute favorite museum of all time, anywhere. Not that I've been to so many places outside of the United States, but this museum is groundbreaking. It's just the most special museum I can even think of, where the museum is just as interesting as the artwork. New teams this week. Stanley's going to be working with Michelle, Leanna's going to be working with Daniel, and Patricia's going to be working with Richard. It's the HP Intel Challenge, and HP has come out with a hybrid PC/tablet. And the teams will be making one ready-to-wear piece and one wearable art piece. So this is the one where they design their own fabric. So they were given cameras and everything to go around the museum, see what inspires them, take photos of it, go back to the workroom, create their fabric. I think they had $200 additional to go to Mood and get supplemental fabric. So Daniel and Leanna, they were pretty much inspired by this wire sculpture. And he started off wanting to do the avant-garde piece, but she was like, no, I'm doing it. So he gave it to her. Stanley and Michelle, they were inspired by some paintings. She came up with the idea of, I want to do an overcoat. He said he wanted to do a dress. She came up with the design for the fabric, and they both loved it. And Richard and Patricia, she's definitely doing the art piece because she's the creative one. And he seemed really lost. He seemed really confused about the whole thing. And he just, the whole episode, he was just like clueless. So they designed the fabric. There was 2 geometrics and 1 weird-headed fabric. It was almost like Munch's The Scream, but a female one. It was very, very chic, I have to say, in the weirdest way. I absolutely loved it. The winner of this challenge is going to get $10,000 and an HP computer. So the fabric arrives the next day. It was a 2-day challenge, and Tim comes to check in. So Richard has been using most of his time working on a stupid bracelet, which was not that good. And Tim was pretty surprised. He's like, is this a conspiracy theory? Are you trying to lose the challenge and throw her under the bus so you can get rid of her? And Richard was like, no. I really don't think he's that smart, but not that you should do that anyway. But Tim gave him far too much credit. Leanna, I don't know what was going on with her this week. She kind of lost it. I guess she's cracking under the pressure. She didn't, she felt like she was responsible for them losing the challenge, because I think a lot of the time she relies on other people, and since she was in charge of all of the stuff, it was all on her this time, and she was really feeling the pressure. She used up all the fabric with her first draping, and then she took it apart, redraped it, didn't like it. You know, she really had trouble coming up with a concept for hers. And she ended up only giving Daniel a little bit of fabric, less than a yard of fabric, to make his, whatever he was going to make with it. Oy vey. Alright, so it's runway time, and Rachel Roy, Nina Garcia, Tracy Reese is the special judge, and of course Heidi. They had the runway show, and I have to say it was pretty spectacular. Heidi loved it. She loves these challenge. Alright, let's talk about the different teams. Michelle and Stanley. This team was absolutely unbelievably great. The fabric was fantastic. Stanley's little long baby doll dress was fantastic. It was so classy yet freaky. Michelle made this overcoat that went over a bubble wrap dress that Stanley made out of bubble wrap that was painted black. And the coat was pretty amazing. It had this long train that Michelle hand painted. It was really, these two looks went together like unbelievably, and I'd buy that dress in a minute. I absolutely loved it. All right, Richard and Patricia. Patricia wrapped her model in her fabric, which was my least favorite, by the way. And it was like these long triangles. She said they were like Indian feathers. Well, geometric Indian feathers. She had a bag over her model's head. It was see-through. It was kind of weird. And then around the arms was wrapped tightly, and then around the bodice was like pleated but tight. It was not a good look. And the way that the fabric was pleated, it lost a lot for me. And Richard, oh, he had this print top with an attached skirt. It looked like a bad tennis outfit from the 1950s. And the two looks were not cohesive together. Now, Leanna and Daniel. Leanna had this poofy, My Fair Lady, throw everything in but the kitchen sink looking gown. Very old. I'm talking great-grandmother of the bride. We're not talking MOB. We're talking great-grandmother of the bride. And Daniel, what the heck did you come up with? That was sassy. He had a little skirt, which was adorable. And that jacket was so hot. It was fitted, and it was sleek, and it was modern and young. And they asked who should win if that team was going to win the challenge. And Daniel said, well, he should, because that was his look. And Leanna in the stew room after the you know, kiss and cry there was all like, ugh, that's not right. You can't tell them that you are going to win. That's mine, mine, mine. She was like Donald Duck in you know, an episode of Bugs Bunny. It was crazy. So she had a little freak out. I don't know if she felt better or not, but she was crying on Michelle the whole time. So we come to find out that Stanley wins, and I think that was a very good decision because that dress was unbelievable. The fabric made it, but that dress, the design of it, was unbelievable. Plus, he came up with the bubble wrap dress that perfectly complemented the long baby doll dress while not even being the same. It was just really nice. The losers this week are Patricia and Richard. And I didn't like either of them, but you know what? Richard ended up being out, and he probably should have been out about 3 weeks ago, so I guess that was a good decision as well. Next time, the survivors will be working on their own with helpers. I don't see how it could be on their own, but some of the old scrubs are going to be coming back and helping out, so I guess they got to keep the team theme going, so I'm sure it'll be interesting. Till next week, much love.